Today I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how to graph a piecewise function in Desmos. A piecewise function is a function whose output depends on a different expression or function rule for different values of the domain. In this case, for the function we can see on screen, if x is less than or equal to 2, then the output, f of x, will be x plus 4, whatever the input is plus 4. If x is between 2 and 5, then the function rule will be negative x squared plus 8x minus 8. And if x is greater than or equal to 5, the function rule to find the output will be x plus 2. Now, even though Desmos looks very different from how we write this by hand when we're doing piecewise function, it does start out the same with a quick definition of the function, f of x equals, and we start by opening braces. It is the curly parentheses. You find it next to the P on your keyboard. What's most different about writing a piecewise function in Desmos, as opposed to writing it by hand, is in Desmos, you write the subdomain first. So I'm going to type x is less than or equal to 2. And on Desmos, if you want to do less than or equal to, you can type less than and then press equal to immediately after, and it will fill that in for you. And then after the subdomain is written, you press a colon and type your function rule. So immediately after that colon, I'm going to write x plus 4. What I'm telling Desmos so far is that f of x, whenever x is less than or equal to 2, is going to be equal to x plus 4. If I want to add, and you can see in my graph, this red line that has appeared stops when x is 2, but this is the line x plus 4. You can recognize the slope of 1, the y-intercept of 4. If I want this to continue, in between each subdomain and function rule pair, I write a comma. And notice the graph went away because now what I've put into this line of Desmos doesn't make any sense. It's waiting for me to finish my thought, finish my rule. So the next thing I'll do is put the next subdomain, and Desmos is pretty clever. You can write the compound inequality exactly as it appears. 2 is less than x is less than 5. Now, if you look at the graph, you'll see that this is not the function that I want to see. In between 2 and 5, this doesn't look like the quadratic negative x squared plus 8x minus 8 because I haven't told it yet. So again, I will put a colon and then type negative x squared plus 8x minus 8. I can see the section of the parabola. I'll continue with the final section of this piecewise function. Remember, each section of the piecewise function, so each pair of subdomain and then function rule, is separated by a comma. And then the subdomain and function rule for the next section is separated by a colon. So I will type x is greater than or equal to 5. If you happen to be using a Mac, you can use option period for that greater than or equal to sign. You could also, of course, use a greater than and then press equal to. Remember, after the x is greater than or equal to 5, I type in a colon and then put in my x plus 2. I can end my brace. My function is defined. And you can see its graph. The reason why this is more useful than graphing 3 separate functions with 3 separate domain restrictions is what I can do now is ask Desmos, find f of 3. And it will do it by plugging the 3 into the correct rule. It knows that I want to use the middle rule because 3 is in between 2 and 5. If I wanted to do f of negative 4, it knows to plug it into the first subdomain. because I define my function as f of x. Now, anytime I use f in Desmos in this calculator, it will refer back to that function and use the correct subdomain.